Series of conversations and sort of presentations that got us to the point of how do we get to LEEP? What is LEEP? What is the big picture, and how do you create sort of systems transformative change that bridges from the top down and from the bottom up? And we got to meet the first enterprises that will join with LEEP in co-creating sort of the journey moving forward. And hopefully then, by the way, we had some questions about when will this open up. We're just sort of taking a few months to get our feet underneath us in terms of defining what will the offline component look like and what kind of content do we want to leverage and networks worldwide. And then we'll be, over the next 6 months, doing global outreach that is targeted at those areas. And I say global, I mean global and local. In order to leverage our community's knowledge, intellectual and social capital, again, to build out our community. And so over time, right now, another couple questions that came up, right now it's just the entrepreneurs on the platform, and it's a closed platform for the community. So like we said, it's an online technology to support the offline community. But as we grow this initiative and as we start to bring in other stakeholder groups, we will then start to bring them into the platform as well. So we're defining that journey and its timeline and its content and all of that starting tomorrow in a retreat in Fayoum. Eventually, what we'd like to see is even members of the Egyptian community worldwide on the platform and also mapped, right? So if I'm an innovator in environmental sustainability, renewable energy or upcycling, and I can actually look and see that, oh, there's this group of people working on a renewable energy in Texas that I can actually tap into because they're part of this LEEP community with us. And we can start to see each other, find each other, ask questions and answers of each other, share resources with one another. And over time, we will start to add in other groups one by one. Amen. Come on up. So right now is going to be a conversation around, we're going to dig deeper into the two sectors that we're actually piloting with. And again, going with the same theme of we wanted to deepen our roots within the community we already had. We reached into the community we already had to build this conversation. So first we have Felix Bock, who is, aside from being so creative and industrious, also just a wonderful human being, and was a global advisor for Jazur in the RISE Fellowship Program. And so I'm not gonna read bios, I'm just gonna sort of speak casually, but from a young age, sort of worked as a carpenter, and then moved into various areas, and you can sort of elaborate on your own, but moved into various areas, getting a PhD in material sciences at UBC, and really working, especially in the area of bamboo. Built his own business now, so he himself is an entrepreneur, and I'm sure he's going to share a lot more about that with us. So this merging of the sciences with the product development and the business side was something that he was also really able to help all of us learn a lot more about, but is really inspiring the work that he's doing. So he's going to share a bit about the work that he's doing and his journey, and how that fits into global movements also around circular economy and environmental sustainability. And we have, why don't you, yes.
You start.
No, I want you to introduce Ahmed Kaman because you guys have a longer history. I did. Yalla. Yes. No, that's you're going to do that now because you have a more person.
أحمد صديق عزيز قديم، وأحمد اشتغل في مهتم بالبيئة من وهو صغير، ومهتم بالبيئة as an activist و as a researcher، واشتغل his masters و PhD وشغله كله على aspects مختلفة للenvironment، وشغله أحمد اشتغل في كل حاجة، كل الستراكشر بتاع الانفايرمنت، من البوليسي ميكرز للانستتيوشن للسبورتنج اورجانيزيشنز زي الجايكا، للشغل اون جراوند مع الاكتيفيست، لشغل في الشارع على بروموتنج للسايكلينج، لشغل مع المحافظات علشان يحطوا دوت ويحطوا له اماكن وقوانين. فمشي along the way رايح جاي research and practitioner as someone who believes في دوت، و as someone طول الوقت كمان بيبروموت لدوت وبيروح لكل الناس يتكلم معاهم ويشتغل معاهم. مفيش مره نطلب من احمد ان هو يتكلم مع الانتربرينورز الا ويجي محضر اكاديميكلي بس في نفس الوقت براكتيكلي ازاي تشتغل دوت على الارض بكل بساطه واريحيه ولذاذه كده. فهو شخص جميل انسايد اوت يعني ما شاء الله.
That was much better than any bio I wrote before.
بس كون ان هو قرا الثلاث ريسيرش بتوع دي حاجه can you say this what he did read your researches ده معناه ان هو حد عبقري.
لا مش قوي.
لا can you say it please?
No.
Please. Please.
Why?
لو سمحت.
Huh?
لو سمحت. لو سمحت.
So earlier I was saying that I had done my doctoral research here on the ground. So part of that at some point was looking at green spaces and the effect on obesity, and also area level and individual level education effect on obesity. And so Ahmed and I were recently introduced by Ihab Abdu, another known and loved figure in the room, I'm sure. And so we were having a conversation by phone, and then he says to me, "Oh, wait a minute. Did you write papers على كذا وكذا?" I said, "Somebody read these doctoral papers. That's great." وكان عارف الميثودولوجيز والoutcomes وكل حاجة. I was really يعني touched, and it also showed يعني because I know Ahmed, you've done so much in the civil society also, and building your own organizations and working with movements around environmental sustainability actually made me really touched and proud that you know that we had this connection, also connecting to evidence-based approaches. So I knew that this is a really great person in terms of, I knew this was a great person because he read these papers. No, but that it was really well aligned with the vision of what we're trying to do. So I'm really happy that we get to meet and hopefully move forward to do this work together. So they'll both be with us for the retreat come in, so that we can, you know, I always say tapping into the hearts and smarts of our community. So
Yes.
I think
It is the values that they internalize. بس كمان الشطارة في إن الواحد يبقى عارف كل حاجة بتتكتب وعنده الديديكيشن إن هو طول الوقت يعرف ويقرأ ويذاكر ويجرو. This is يعني great values احنا محتاجينها when we work with entrepreneurs. احنا مش بس بناخد من الناس اللي سبقونا المعرفة، احنا بناخد منهم كمان الديسبلين. how they have the passion but they have كمان dedication to reach there. والgenerosity to work with people from different side of the world and to keep this and to work on this and to be ready anytime to just jump start and work with new generations. So I think we have great people on our panel.
So with that, we want to invite Felix and Ahmed will both present a bit about first on the global side and then the local side, circular economy and sort of what they do and how they see things in terms of the global movement when it comes to environmental sustainability and circular economy. And then we'll have a conversation as we did last time with the whole room.
بس يعني السيشن اللي فاتت كنا واحدة على الناس الانتراكتيف. السيشن دي هيبقى الأسئلة يعني بعد ما هنخلص هنسأل بقى. يعني المرة اللي فاتت قلنا لهم طب إيه انسايتس، طب عندكم أسئلة. المرة دي بعد السيشن ما هتخلص احنا هننزل نسأل. فالناس اللي سرحانة واللي بتاكل واللي بتريح شوية بعد الغداء، وانا مش هجيب سيره اسامي يعني مين اللي بيريح في السيشنز او كده، تخلي بالها خاصه الناس اللي في الانفايرمنت تو سي ازاي دوت ريليفنت بالنسبه لها. فهنخش اسئله بعد ما هيخلصوا هنخش اسئله فخلي بالكم.
Do we have the clicker here?
Should I start?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, go for it. Nice to meet you, everyone. For those of you who have not met before, I was asked to give a few minutes introduction why it's relevant that you know that I got re-invited to hopefully help a few startups and some of the ventures that introduced themselves today. I kind of wrote down every single name, every company name with like 2 or 3 keywords next to the name, what I think or what I got out of it. What you all do, and I feel like we have 2 main sections. One is education, and one is waste conversion, recycling, new technology to increase value of unutilized resources. And I think that has been my expertise pretty much since I started my career in engineering. On the education side, don't worry, I have a big passion for education. My dream job was to be a kindergarten teacher. But my father said I should not become a kindergarten teacher, which is actually very sad. But now I feel like I'm the closest to be a kindergarten teacher as I've ever been because I have now 22 employees, and I have to talk to them in very simple language so they understand what I want. So I thought I'm going to give you a little introduction of my venture as an engineering and product design example within the circular economy. I'm just going to stand up for this because I just hate sitting around. So I think when I stand here, it's the best, maybe? Yeah? Okay, cool. So let's see if this works. Okay, that's not what I wanted. How do I just go one slide? Okay, let's try. I'm just a carpenter. I have no idea about technology, so even this is a big technology challenge for me. Yeah, Mona is asking me to tell a bit more about my background. I usually don't do it because I think it's much more important to talk about you and to dive right into our work. But maybe I tell you a bit about my background looking at this picture. Every single person who doesn't care about waste or resources would look at this picture without any feelings. My background is probably a very big reason for why I look at this picture that I took on the landfill after wood was recycled and separated, and I look at this as a big opportunity. Every entrepreneur in the room says, this is what opportunity looks like. All other people out there, they say, this is a problem. We see it as an opportunity. So I grew up, I left school when I was 15 to become a carpenter, not a kindergarten teacher. And then I left that career to more into the academics. I became a wood engineer, all the way doing my PhD in structural bamboo composites. Which obviously is a very fortunate thing to do, but at the same time, just like Mona, and that's how we met each other, I was frustrated that all my professors, they were keen to develop their career to write papers and publications and books, and they weren't really interested in using that energy and knowledge to adopt it right away in the industry. So I got in trouble because every single project I had, I immediately tried to put it out into the industry. And then I actually got kicked out of the program for 1 year. I'm not sure if I ever told you this. I actually got kicked out of university because of information breach, because I applied one of our solutions right away in the industry because there was this amazing project in Ghana that I wanted to, introduce a solution to. And the university said, you can't do this because now we can't publish a paper anymore. And so they kicked me out for 1 year. But after I started my company and it got the university so much exposure, they re-invited me back into the program to finish. So I'm like, oh, that's really nice. There's one big problem with frustration in the industry when you just don't find the right people to work with. And I think the biggest problem that we have in the world is a luxury problem of our resources. As long as we have forest, no one cares about the urban forest. As long as we have concrete and steel and cement, no one is building with more sustainable building materials. And this is when I started looking at this landfill differently, and I wanted to start a project that is very relatable, very tangible, and very inspiring at the same time. And I was kind of telling my friends, what if I would start a viable business just by recycling chopsticks? And everyone said, oh my God, Felix, you can't do this. Why would you ever start a business as a garbage man recycling chopsticks? You're doing a PhD, you have to work on the bigger problems. I said, I think this is a bigger problem. So I came up with a solution with a custom machinery, a custom concept to highly densify that material. So you all got that little keychain, right? So we're not only making these little keychains with LEEP logos on, even though we love them. We're actually now making flooring, wall paneling, building materials, furniture. We collect around 350,000 chopsticks per week. So, you know, that's a big number, but it's a very, very, very small problem that we are tackling. It's a very small example of how someone crazy like me started a small, viable business that is scalable. And I think there are many, many companies in this room that are starting with a particular resource: plastic, fabric, glass, agricultural waste. Just these are the few materials that I heard in the presentations this morning that you're trying to tackle and trying to bring value to in some sort of a business idea. And if you do it right, and if you have the right solution for it and the right technology, it's highly scalable. And that's what I'm trying to show today a little bit. So I think the biggest surprise for our venture and for our clients was that the products that we make out of garbage, out of these recycled little chopsticks, are actually beautiful. So to me, that's one of the big key components of every solution that is out there. Either the technology has to be really brilliant, highly automated, and really good, or the product that you're offering has to have, you know, a very minimalistic, timeless, very, very good quality design so that it lasts and it's durable and it's not just a trend. Because that's the biggest fear, you know. You can't just start a company and then after 6 to 9 months after your early adopters are, you know, forgot about you, that trend goes down again and your solution is not further viable or not sustainable as a business model. So you see we make all sorts of different design products, functional home and houseware. So the biggest concept is to involve all stakeholders of our recycling business. So every restaurant and hospitality partner that we work with, we try to price the products in a way that they can afford to buy them back. So if, I give you an example. We are now working with McDonald's Canada. You know, McDonald's is not using chopsticks in their restaurants, but they have a big initiative to try to reduce their waste. So as an example, to teach their customers, we're now making tabletops out of recycled chopsticks for McDonald's Canada so that they can, in their future marketing campaign, tell their customers that they care about the environment. So they're kind of using us, you know, they're using us as an approachable, relatable example so that their clients who are, you know, coming from all sorts of ranges of education, that they understand how recycling works and that recycling is not the end step, it's actually the next step that is so important, what you do with the resource that you separated. So I made a graph specifically for you who is involved in the recycling industry. So I call my business the 100 billion chopstick opportunity. So forget about the dollars for now. I call our business the 100 billion chopstick business opportunity. And you can call your plastic, fabric, glass, everything, you can approach this the exact same way. If you have a really good idea and you just tell yourself one day, I want to recycle chopsticks, the idea is worth nothing. It's still $0. It's still in the garbage can. You still don't know how to separate it. You still don't know what technology you use. $0. The moment you identify it as a resource, it's still $0 because we still don't know who is using it after, what to do, and you know, how it's getting separated. The next step is, and this is unfortunately where most recycling businesses are not viable anymore, the moment you put labor into it, transportation, separation, collection bins, all of a sudden, that idea, that resource that you have, actually has a dollar value, right? So in my case, it's $350 per ton, 35 cents per kilogram. And now most of the businesses, or some of the businesses in the room, they stop here, right? So we have the resource recycled, and now we hope that someone with that very, very low margin is purchasing that material for a future process. What I have done in order to make this a viable business, because it's a very small scale business, because we're just focusing on these stupid little chopsticks, we have tried to develop these products that you saw as design engineered products. And the secret of our success that is actually a viable business since year one is our engineering multiple. So every tech company is trying to find this hockey stick curve growth. And I think every company that is in here that is dealing with recycling or resource recovery can achieve this hockey stick curve growth, not through tech, not through automation, but through engineering and value creation through your process that you develop. So what that means in our case, so this is not theory, this is actually what we achieve today through our custom engineered equipment and our design and the brand that we developed. We're achieving a multiple of 148 from resource of 35 cents per kilogram all the way to $52 per kilogram. So one of these hexagon tiles that you see, we sell in average for $26. That's what that means, that number. And that's just an average across all verticals and across all products we offer that we want to achieve. But obviously now this entire graph, there's a lot of room for error, or room for research and development, room to enter different markets that don't allow you as much margins. And that's why I thought this is maybe an approachable example for you that we can work together on the retreat to find your engineering multiple that you need to hit to make it a viable business for your location, for your material, and for your volume that you recycle. And I hope I can help you with, because I've done that now for many, many, many different materials. So as you can see, we are not only making keychains and little coasters, we're actually making full-on interior renovations, 100% made out of recycled chopsticks, just for the crazy story to inspire. And as you hear that from so many people today, there's a big, big focus on local to global. Because if I can do this in a North American city, imagine the potential that my business has in places like Japan, China, Korea, Taiwan. I heard they're also using chopsticks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So chopsticks are actually close to my heart because I was born in Japan, so I used chopsticks before fork and knife. So.
That's awesome.
So hello everyone, my name is Ahmed Al-Durghami. Should I speak in English or it's okay? Yeah. So the idea of this 10-minute talk is that we want to talk about the local context as well. We're going to talk about local solutions. So I'll be talking about the second letter in this word, L, the local context in Egypt with regards to environment and circular economy and so on. Okay. So I work in an organization, it's an intergovernmental organization called Center for Environment and Development for the Arab region and Europe. It works in diverse fields of environmental development, and this is why I have some exposure to what's going on in terms of policy development in different countries. And as we were mentioning, I'm interested in activism as well. What I'll talk about today will be a bit about hot topics in Egypt. Okay? Sometimes we notice that there's science is offering sometimes more solutions, searching for problems. And my job in the next 10 minutes is to give a bit more background about the problems that challenges we are facing in Egypt so that we can keep pace. There are three hot topics that I would like to talk about. First of all, electronic waste. This is something that we were working on for the past 3 years. Sorry, for the past 6 years. 20 years ago, if I would ask how many people have a mobile phone in this room, in Egypt or anywhere, not many people would raise their hand, but today I think, show of hands, who has a telephone? Okay, so this mobile phone has gold and silver and also precious metals, platinum, platinum, and so on. This is becoming a hot topic in Egypt, not just the phones, but everything that is electric or electronic. And this is one of the things that the government is very interested in addressing as early as possible. There is a new concept now in most advanced cities called urban mining. So in the past we would mine for gold. Where? Somewhere in the desert, somewhere in, anywhere in nature. But today we go to urban cities, and there's so much electric and electronic equipment in landfills that we can actually mine the landfill. And this is where the concept of urban mining, we are mining into landfills. And in some cases it might even be cheaper for certain metals. There are more than 60 different metal types in this phone. But also this microphone and so on, or anything electric. So one of the challenges that we've been working on is developing policy and regulatory environment that would be conducive of entrepreneurship and solutions that people would have. So that was about e-waste, and we can talk more about this during the Q&A session. The next one is a bit related as well, electric vehicles. So I know we're not talking about transportation today, but I want to talk about the product as electric vehicles. One of the challenges is that now we lifted custom duties off of electric vehicles, used electric vehicles as well. So this means that EVs are starting to flow into Egypt. We're starting to see electric cars everywhere. We have more than 100 electric charging stations now. So anybody can log into PlugShare and you'll see maybe 130 by now charging stations all over Egypt, not just Cairo. So this is happening very quickly. And we don't want to repeat the mistake of waiting, having a problem, and then solving it. So today, for example, you'll find someone in the informal settlements setting fire to a pile of electronic waste just to recover a bit of copper. Okay? And these are usually children. They would be exposed to this air pollution. Also, Egypt would lose all of the different precious metals that would be in this motherboard or television and so on. Let alone the stuff that can leak into groundwater, such as lead if it's a CRT screen and so on. So it's a problem, and we want to avoid repeating this with electric vehicles, for example. One of the challenging parts of EVs is the battery. Okay, because it has many different types of material involved, the supply chain is huge, and so on, and we still don't have the policy and regulations in place to deal with this and to deal with its waste. We look at someone who is at a similar income level, just to compare. So Jordan, for example, they're not innovators, they are receiving EVs, and now they have more than 22,000 electric cars in the streets. What does this mean to us as environmentalists? It means we're going to have 22,000 batteries in a bit, okay? And this is what we have to start planning for from now. Different ways, it's a very long story. But this is also related to recycling and electric and electronic waste and so on. The third hot topic that is being addressed now in Egypt is plastics. So actually today in the morning we had a meeting with the Ministry of Environment to discuss strategy towards banning eventually single-use plastic bags. I don't know if the picture is available from my just one slide if it's there, but either way it's okay. So what's happening now around the world is that we have more than 100 countries that are starting to introduce regulations to ban or restrict the use of plastic bags. Okay? How many الأكياس البلاستيك زاد الاستخدام الواحد single use plastic bags carrier, okay? So how many plastic bags do we use in Egypt? I guess. Oh, how many would you use every day? On average, 10 or something. It's a bit, yeah, that's we collectively use 12 billion plastic bags, carrier plastic bags in Egypt alone, every year, per year, okay? And all over the world, we consume enough plastic bags so that if you put them next to each other, they would be twice the size of France. This is every year. And this is why plastic bags is a very big issue. So for example, we had a visit to Mauritania. Okay, this is in West Africa. It's in a very, very early stage of development. And they had problems. We were talking about climate change, crisis management, and so on. And then we were surprised by something. One of the reasons they have floods in their urban areas was not just because of they're on the coast and rain and so on, but because a lot of the drainage systems are already being clogged by plastics, including plastic bags, but many other types. And this goes to show you that not just in Egypt, not just in the States or Europe, the least developed countries are catching up very quickly. And this also means that any solution that's being developed in somewhere like Egypt will have a lot of use and profound implications on what we can do in the rest of Africa, where we're going to have billions in the next maybe a couple of decades. So by 2050, by 2100, the world will be about 11 billion. And these will all be consuming all these consumer products, which are very soon going to be waste, much faster than we expect. So what is being done for this? We're going to talk more in the Q&A session, but it's not just about recycling, but you can start all the way from the design process from the start. So if it's designed to be recyclable, recoverable, reusable, and so on, this will reduce the life cycle impact of the different products. So this means that innovation is not just in the disposal stage. There's a very big cycle where we can intervene in different parts. So this is what we're doing in Egypt now. We are studying the plastic situation of plastic bags. There has been some good examples in Hurghada, in the Red Sea Governorate, and in South Sinai, in Dahab, trying to ban, so it's on and off, some problems, but there is experience. So that was a good experience, and we're trying to build on that for the next stages. In 2017, we had a campaign because one of the biggest challenges in addressing consumerism is just simply people's behavior and how they will adapt. So I will just end with this. One of the key challenges we noticed, because I want to link this with entrepreneurship, was the lack of interdisciplinary competences when we are providing solutions and so on. So for example, we would have people who are developing biodegradable bags, but the design is not convenient and they don't know how to talk to people. Or someone is working on marketing, but they don't know that this product has bad impact on the environment because they're not in touch with the research institutions and so on. Just to give you a small example, just one example, maybe you'll remember this today. If I don't use a single-use plastic bag and I use a cotton bag, and I'm happy, that's good, right? Because it's like what my grandma would use every day to the market, just using my own bag and saying no to the plastic bags. It's not entirely true, because the energy that you need, for example, for this cotton bag is more than 300 times for a plastic bag. So this means that I have to reuse this cotton bag more than 300 times. Okay? The story is a bit more complex, but I'm just simplifying it. So more than 300 times to justify this cotton bag and its impact on environment. And here comes the tricky part. So we all know the reuse, reduce, recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. One of the most common, the most difficult challenges is the reduce part, because many solutions that we provide for the environment are actually rooted in a model of consumerism. They're rooted in a model of capitalism and so on, of fashion and so on. So we cannot do like my grandma and carry a single-use plastic bag or single-use reusable bag. This is what we did. We noticed that people were happy, they used it. This was 2017, and this year we're going to change our strategy. People were happy, but we noticed that they are used to changing fashion. So today I want to be ecological with this bag, tomorrow I want to be ecological with another bag. That was a problem. Another thing, and this is why interdisciplinary competence is important, is that the men, they were like, turtles and sea and marine life, I'm not gonna carry this. Yeah? So we quickly changed and added like another option when they're walking. So they would have this, yes, this macho, desert, dry environment. This is a picture in Egypt of sandstones. But I'm just giving examples of what it means to understand culture as well. And the challenge, and that's an open question, I don't have full answers yet. The challenge of providing solutions when most of solutions are still rooted in this concept of this paradigm of consumerism. So basically this was for awareness raising, and this is actually a plastic bag because of the examples I was telling you about, that it's not necessarily better impact. There are conditions and so on. But at the end of the day, the more we have networking between different competences, the more that we can solve our problems. I tried not to delve into the science of different types of plastics and so on, but there's a lot to say about this. But it's definitely not enough. It has to be linked to all the different dimensions of advocating new lifestyles and advocating new products and so on. So that's it. Thank you.
حضرتك شايفك قاعده ومركزه بتاعت جرينتش انت وفرحانه قوي بدرغامي بيتكلم وكده جاي لك على الطبطاب ها ما تخافيش يا دكتوره انت خليكي على جنب فقال لك interdisciplinarity competencies ايه اللي بيقولوا ده بيقول لك ما عندناش ال interdisciplinary competencies ايه ده يعني مش تستحي
طيب مساء الخير انا عندي سؤالين اول حاجه ليها علاقه بالاي ويست كنا عايزين نعرف اكتر عن الاي ويست ستيتس في مصر عامله ازاي يعني كل الناس اللي بتجمع الاي ويست ايه اللي بيحصل له بقى بعد كده فده اول حاجه احنا كنا تبع بان لاستيك كنا عملنا اول اي ويست سامت في شهر 6 اللي فات في المكتبه بس دي كانت سؤال بيتسال لنا ان الشركات اللي بتعمل ريسايكلينج للاي ويست بيروح فين بعد كده تاني سؤال كنا مهتمين نعرف how was the meeting مع الوزارة الصبح regarding banning single use plastic وايه ال challenges اللي هم شايفينها هل بس ال customer awareness ولا حاجة تانية؟
ماشي هتقولي انت يا عليا ايه اللي هتلعبي في التليفون الموبايل؟ مش هتقولي انت؟ محمود عندك اسئلة؟ انت راجل بتاع كاوتش يعني المفروض تبقى
I have two questions. أول واحد بالنسبة الويست في مصر في informal sector وفي black market مسيطر على معظم الرو ماتيريالز سواء كانت الكاوتش ولا البلاستيكس ولا الالكترونكس ولا كل الحاجات دي معظمها مسيطر عليها في black markets. ولما بيطلع في attempt من الانتربرنور ان هو يحاول يعمل مثلا ستارت اب او شركه تحل مشكله من المشاكل دي usually بيبقى في يا اما عدم تعاون من الانفورمال سيكتورز دي او بيبقى في كمان محاربه منهم عشان هم مش عايزين حد يدخل في الحته ده هي. انا عايز اعرف يعني how الجفرمنت بتخطط ان هي يعني تتعامل مع الموضوع بتاع البلاك ماركتس ده ويعني كمان من فتره كان في من 3 سنين بالظبط كان في كونفرنس ما بين جي اي زد وممثلين من الحكومه في تسيد انا حضرته عشان ادابت التجربه بتاعه الريسايكلينج بتاعه الكاوتش من هناك بس يعني لحد دلوقتي انا مش شايف ليها اي اثار فانا I was wondering يعني ايه مدى فاعليه ان احنا بناخد تجارب من بلاد تانية وبنسمع عنها وبنعرف عنها بس ما بنطبقهاش بشكل مناسب للبيئة بتاعتنا. ده السؤال الأولاني. السؤال الثاني هو اسمه ايه؟ Felix. My question is to Felix. The second question is to Felix. It's about sustainability versus capitalism. Usually they don't coincide. Capitalism is against sustainability because if you're going to build something that's sustainable, then you're going to make less money out of it. And this is becoming even more and more of an issue to the degree that in a recent article for Bloomberg, they actually asked the question, is it a sustainable business model to cure patients in hospitals? That was an actual question in one of their articles, but it makes sense when you think about it from a capitalistic point of view. So my question is, how could startups be about sustainable products and sustainability in general, while capitalism is the main scope of work that is governing how we operate in general?
قفلتها انت كده كرسي في الكلوب. ماشي هناخد سؤال كمان. كابيتاليزم برضو خلاص هو قال هو تمام. طيب ماشي كابيتاليزم 3 كابيتاليزم.
مساء الخير، انا احمد عبيد. انا بس اللي لفت نظري عندنا فجوه كبيره جدا how to use an energy of knowledge to make it applied. احنا عندنا فجوه ضخمه جدا عشان نعمل R&D وبعدين نبدا نطبقه. التطبيق عندنا في مصر بقى صعب جدا. يمكن احنا اشتغلنا عندنا R&D تيم في اور كامباني اشتغل حوالي سنه، هو مش عارف في ايه، يعني شغال في المجهول. بس بدانا نحول البيبرز والاور برودكت واور ملاحظاتنا كتير قوي على الشغل بتاعنا ل ومع الفريق ازاي نحول النولج ديت اللي احنا نعمل لها ابلكيشن، وبعد الابلكيشن ازاي نعمل التكنيكال فيزابيليتي بتاعت الابلكيشن دوت. النقطة الثانية احنا عندنا فجوة في المعرفة عن السيركل ايكونومي. مفهوم الاقتصاد الدائري ده لازم نعلمه من اول الاطفال من كي جي. يعني ايه اقتصاد دائري؟ ايه مفهوم الاقتصاد الدائري؟ يعني ايه امباكت؟ كتير قوي انا لو سالنا ناس كتير هنا في القاعه يعني ايه امباكت، إيه الاثار السوشيال امباكت الامباكت احنا كتير قوي لازم نقيسه في الاخر، مش مجرد كلام. احنا اي كلام لازم نحوله لارقام. النقطه الاخيره احنا عندنا في مصر فجوه كبيره جدا ما بين في تدوير المخلفات العضويه وغير العضويه، ما بين البلاك ماركت والناس اللي عايزه تعمل تقنين للتدوير المخلفات. يعني قصه الكاوتش، انا عارف في مثلا بلد في طريق الغربيه مثلا زفته ديت مسيطره على الكاوتش في مصر كلها، واي حد يحاول يعمل تقنين او تدوير او يعني دي بتبقى مشكله. دي النقطه الثانيه، انا لما بدانا نجمع مخلفات عضويه وندخل على مصانع وكده، احنا عندنا مشكله المخلفات العضويه في مصر. اكتر من يعني القاهره لوحدها حوالي 15 مليون طن سنويا مخلفات عضويه، و56% من المخلفات العضويه 83% من المخلفات العضويه احنا بنرميها نعملها دامبنج، وال 17% او 18% التانيين اللي احنا بنعملهم ريسايكلينج. في برضو بلاك ماركت ضخم جدا في المخلفات العضويه ديت. اي حد بيقدر يحاول يدخل في سوق المخلفات او البلاك ماركت بيتحارب محاربه كبيره جدا. النقطه الاخيره بس، احنا دايما عندنا لسه ليجيسليشن في مصر في الجراي اريا، يعني ما فيش قانون موحد وواضح لتقنين واستخدامات يعني تدوير المخلفات بشكل كبير. احنا دايما بنستعين بخبرات من بره، بس احنا عندنا هنا خبرات شغاله بقى لها 20 سنه و30 سنه. الناس اللي شغالين في البلاك ماركتس عشان بتجميع البلاستيك والناس ديت ازاي لازم نفكر قبل ما نجيب شركه من بره نتعاقد عليها حكوميا، اللي نعمل امباورنج للناس اللي شغاله ديت ونغير الثقافه بتاعتهم عشان يشتغلوا في النور. شكرا
جزيلا. ممكن ننجز في الاسئله؟ ننجز. بلاش نساله هم يجاوبوا. very late. انت عشان عندك سيشن فعايزه تروحي؟ ماشي. ميلاجروس مستنيانا اونلاين؟ ماشي. طيب. تردوا على اسئله؟ ماشي. فيليكس, would you like to start?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm actually learning a lot because I didn't know about the black market recycling situation. Honestly, I know it might be challenging, but from an outside perspective, I actually think there's a huge opportunity and can actually put a lot of pressure on official bodies, because if a local government or in general a government realizes that there's so much interest of people who see this waste as a resource and come up with new solutions for it, then yes, for these small businesses that might be a problem, but maybe the government sees this as opportunity to scale that solution, to make sure that this is going to be an officially implemented program. That's just a side note, but I'll let you speak to that because I think that's a bigger problem. Do you want to say something now, or should I answer the capitalism question? Okay. What field do you work in? Recycling. Okay. So there was a question about how do startups cope with the challenge that sustainability usually doesn't go together with making money or capitalism. I strongly disagree. I think every single company that starts today has the motivation, has a new age, has the motivation to do some sort of good, and that might be related to reducing waste, that might be related to being part of circular economy, and maybe that means coming up with new technology that is at the beginning a bit more expensive to implement, but that sets the tone, that sets the pressure, and hopefully helps to implement new industry standards that the big corporations have to follow this lead of new sustainability standards. This is my general motivation, and it's not a naive answer, because I've proven it with several scalable businesses, with several resources, that as long as you know what you do and you tackle these resource transformations in the most efficient way with the latest technology, then you can obviously be profitable and making money, be part of capitalism, grow your career, make a lot of money, and be a green business. But you just have to back it up with good scientific data that you actually are a green business and you're not just greenwashing.
So I totally agree, and I can even give a good example of, I was talking about phones. For example, there was a lot of lobbying from the environmental organizations and researchers a while ago, a decade ago. Please harmonize, for example, standards so that we don't have to throw away our chargers after 5 minutes. Just a few months, we're changing phones, or anything. We need 5 chargers at home for different phones in a family and so on. And this changed. So there was this process of listening to the market and having what we call extended producer responsibility. So EPR, if you start reading a bit more about circular economy, is one of the very important concepts that we are using to promote this mindset amongst companies and the private sector and so on. Extended producer responsibility. This means that I am responsible for my product not until sales, not until its post-consumption, but also until reuse and disposal. So this means I have to update my own design. Because if I'm responsible for disposal, then my product will not have mercury anymore, because I don't want it to leach through the landfill to the groundwater. So I start changing my design. Without this extended responsibility, I would not care, because I am providing it up to standards, and that's it. So this the extended producer responsibility.
I would agree. This would affect ultimately, but this wouldn't affect my reduction of the production and the consumption.
Very good. Yeah. Thank you.
Agree. They are not mutually exclusive. But still, consumerism and capitalism doesn't go hand in hand in all times.
Thank you. That's a very good comment because now Ayman is talking about the reduce part, because the company would say, okay, I'm unifying the way the chargers are designed, so it's environmentally less impact, but I'm losing money. What we do notice, however, is that with every reduction, there's an opportunity. With every closed door, there's another open door. For example, if we place a plastic bag ban and people start reducing their use of plastic, they would need another innovative solution to use it. Electric cars, actually, which I mentioned, is not as sustainable as we think. Okay, we are mining for cobalt in Congo, which has 60% of the cobalt of the world. We are having parts from all over the world. We are using a 6-ton piece of metal in the street causing congestion. This is the electric car, so it's still not sustainable. But we also have the reduce concept in transportation, in mobility. So where is that? So with connectivity, the same population can have a smaller number of cars. So if we're looking at the model that Volkswagen is looking forward to, the new electric car for all that they're going to introduce soon, is not only geared towards just selling, it's also geared towards shared use. So instead of 10 people with 10 cars, we have 10 people with 2 cars. More than 90% of your car is not being used. Of the time of the life of your car, you're not driving it actually. So in the same spirit of what we see in couch surfing, so shared economy concepts, sharing space, sharing food, sharing anything, sharing cars would reduce the ownership. So are we having less cars now? Yes. But are we having other business opportunities? Yes. So in the IT sector now, there's all the connectivity solutions that we see, and other things spin out of this reduced consumption. So people can still grow, companies can still grow, but we can dematerialize this growth. So the growth doesn't have to be necessarily involving, I mean, when you consume music, you're not using material. When we shifted away from paper towards paperless offices, for example, there are other products that we are using. So we are dematerializing our life, for example. So you can have different ways of adding value to the economy without necessarily mining everything out of our planet. So should I move to the next questions? Let me know how we're doing on time, yeah. Because there were a few questions here.
سؤالين هنا بس we need to wrap up quickly علشان ما عايزه تروح وتسيبنا ومش هناخد السيشن بتاعت التعليم عشان عندها بنتها وكده. كانت بتقول لنا الكلام ده من 4 5 6 سنين، بنتي ولازم اروح لها. بنتها كبرت وقربت تخش الجامعه ولسه برضه تقول لي انا لازم اروح لبنتي. فكان we get 2 questions quickly and
Okay. We also have Milagros who's going to be joining virtually, so we need to. But can I make one quick comment on this capitalism and how businesses are run? There's a major, there's a network in the United States, I'm forgetting the name right now, but it's of a lot of the Fortune 500 major companies, and they meet, you know, once a year or maybe a little more often. And it's all around profit maximization, really, and they meet, you know, around business trends moving forward. This year was the first year where they actually said the role of business should not be just to maximize financial value for shareholders, that actually maximizing social and environmental value should be a part of business as well, even at that level of sort of large corporate world. So this made it to the front page of the New York Times because it is a shift. And I guess it gets to the point of that you were making, Felix, and also that you're making, which is it doesn't have to be anti-capitalist, but it also means that you have to have an engaged, getting back to what we were talking about in the morning, an engaged citizenry where there's demand for that. Because in the end of the day, those businesses are actually responding to the demand.
معلش يعني المفروض ان انا دي اسئله بس انا هكمل على كلامك عشان انت دخلتي في الحته بتاعتي بتاعت الشركات والبرايفت سيكتور. يا محمود البريشر في دوت مش الشركات اللي بيعمل البريشر، مش الشركات اللي بيعمل البريشر سيتيزنز والكوليشن اوف سيتيزنز البابليك. فاصحابنا اللي شغالين في الاندستري بتاعت الشوكليت بيقولوا ان اليوث الميلينيالز بره دلوقتي بيقلب الشوكليت بار ويشوف how much CO2 emission ويبتدي يقارن ما بين السلع. فهم اللي بوتنج بريشر على الشركات انها تبقى مور فريندلي. انا اجري معاك في اللي انت بتقوله، واجري مع درغامي ان اتس نوت موشلي اكسكلوسيف، ان ده مش معناه ان احنا نشتغل على الريسايكلينج والريوزنج، بس ديفنتلي اجري على ان هي اتز ان ايشو اوف كونسيومرزم. بس نقطه الضغط مش من ديفنتلي في ضغط على الشركات وفي ضغط مع الحكومات عشان البوليسيز، بس نقطه البدايه هي من السيتيزنز، من سترونج بابليك قادر ان هو يبقى عنده اونرشيب للانفايرمنت بتاعته وللوطن بتاعه، ويبتدي انفورس براكتس معينه هي اللي تجبر الشركات انها تبليس them in a way more environmentally from the roots causes not just from the tip of the pyramid. والله اعلم. طيب ممكن سريع in a nutshell.
In a nutshell and then we'll.
in a nutshell اهو. ها خلصت؟
انا هتبرع بالسؤال.
كويس. خد سؤال.
طيب بالنسبه لفيليكس في عندنا مشكله في محمد لطفي شركه فيرمي داتش. بالنسبه للود هل الافشنسي بتاعته بتبقى زي الجديد؟ دي حاجه. تاني حاجه ازاي تغلبت على موضوع ان انا اكسر الحاجز ما بيني وما بين اللي هو هيشتري الريسايكل وود، خاصه اغلب المنتجات ليها علاقه بالفود والهايجين وكده. بالنسبه للالكترونيك ويست هل احنا في مصر حاليا وضعنا ايه؟ لان كنت بتعامل دايما مع ناس بيلموا اللي هم المذر بورد والحاجات الالكترونيه، فتره قالوا ان هي ما بتصدر للصين، وفتره ان الجيش هيعمل مصنع خاص بالموضوع دوت. بالنسبه للبلاستيك هل في شركات او هل في دعم وتمويل للشركات اللي عايزه تعمل اللي هي الاكياس او الشنط اللي هي مش وان يوز؟ في نقطه بقى عامه دي شايف ان هي بتواجه للاسف محدش رد عليها، موضوع البلاك ماركت، خاصه ان هو بيعمل مشكله ان هو بياخد المخلفات اللي ليها قيمه وبيسيب المخلفات اللي بيبقى بتعمل مشكله، سواء ريحه او منظر او مخلفات ملهاش قيمه ومخلفات صعب ان انت تتعامل معاها. دي حاجه. تاني حاجه للاسف الحكومه المصريه لحد الان بتتعامل مع موضوع المخلفات ان هي مش بشكل بيئي، بتتعامل بشكل ان هي مقاول جرارات بتيجي تشيل الحاجه وخلاص. للاسف عندنا نموذج سيء جدا في اسكندريه. موضوع المخلفات دلوقتي بقى مسنود لشركه النهضه اللي هي تابعه شركه المقاولين. للاسف فكر مش بيئي، فكر مقاول جرارات وتشيل المخلفات وخلاص، مفيش اي كونسبت بيئي في الموضوع. لو حد حابب ان هو يعني انا جربت انا شخصيا ان انا اروح المحافظه واحاول ان انا اخد المخلفات ديت واتعامل معاها سواء مع شركات، الموضوع بيرجع تاني لشركه النهضه وبنخش في دايره الروتين والحاجات ديت. فهل الموضوع دوت وموضوع التمويل هل ليه حل ولا؟ شكرا.
شكرا يا منى. Go ahead. Felix and then Durgami, have you translated?
Yeah. Should I respond first?
Yes.
Yeah. So I hope my answer gets translated well. So the question was about can we achieve with recycling businesses like mine and mine in specific the same quality grade and is it food safe? So to quality, I want to speak as an engineer. I look at my resource as a dry resource that I get from urban mining. So I call it urban harvesting. So I'm looking at it as an urban forest, and I pick up these chopsticks, and they're all bone dry. They maybe have 2 to 3% moisture, so they're all perfect resource, and most of them made out of a bamboo fiber, which is a super hard and strong material. So I can engineer my new material to any quality I want. So of course I can meet all the quality standards that I need to hit. Where it becomes a bit more tricky if you have a green business, you want to obviously make sure that the additives you use are also recyclable, biodegradable, or in my case it's a water-based resin system from the automotive industry. So I did my PhD developing a new material for BMW in the automotive industry, where it was very important that the materials are recyclable again at the end of life and that there are no environmental concerns or volatile organic compounds as emissions, VOCs, and we are completely VOC free, which is why we can offer food safe and food grade products in a very uniform high quality.
And that's very challenging, I think.
Yeah, it is, and again that that might cost you a bit more in development. But if you grow that in scale and if you know exactly how you position your product, then you can compensate that higher cost because you can market it on the impact level.
Yeah, so moving to the questions about the informal sector and waste and so on, and the plastic ban and the so for those who don't know, there is a lot of civil society movement and advocacy for banning single-use plastic bags, among other causes as well. So Banlastic, the lady from Banlastic, yeah. So you're involved in a coalition for banning single-use plastic bags, and this is what Ayman was talking about. If you look at many countries that banned plastic bags or did other initiatives as well, it was usually stemming from the grassroots movements, and this is something that we really need in Egypt. I was talking earlier in the coffee break about this challenge, and I was mentioning, but this is a personal opinion, that one of our competitors in terms of grassroots movements, if I'm an activist, seems to be Netflix. And the like, because 10 years ago I could find much more volunteering energy than I can today. Today life is a bit more expensive, so that's one issue. The other issue is that I used the term dopamine pump. We have a dopamine pump at home, so people are losing interest in doing something outdoors and they just stay at home and go through Facebook and Netflix and YouTube and all of the things that are engineered to just satisfy us. But this is going into a philosophical discussion. But this is my personal observation over the past 15 years of activism. The energy is going down, but I strongly believe that there's going to be a rebound phenomena that is happening now. And this is just one example, Banlastic and the decree for banning single-use plastic bags in the Red Sea Governorate and South Sinai. It was pushed by an NGO, the Hurghada Environmental Protection and Conservation Agents, HEPCA Association, HEPCA. And HEPCA actually has a very good history in activism. They saved an island before, Giftoon Island, from real estate developer ideas to turn it into an Ibiza of the Middle East and things like this. One of the best 5 diving sites in the world. And it was going in that direction. So they did a lot, campaigns for dolphins and sharks and things like this. So one of them is the single-use plastic bags, and then tagging along is this big group of NGOs that are also adding to this advocacy energy. And this is actually the reason why the Ministry of Environment today is discussing with us how do we do this? Why is this biodegradable material being banned here? And this other type is not banned there, and so on. So we start looking into the practicalities of all of this. So I second what Ayman was saying about civil society, and I really encourage everybody here to really keep this 5% of advocacy in their bloodstream. So work in the morning, 9 to 5, and have a 5% of your time pushing for a cause that you care about. I think this is extremely important. If 100 million people are just putting this 5% of advocacy together with their job, we won't be just pure working to pay the bills. We're going to be changing something. And I think that's very important. And I've seen that it's been effective. And it still is.
Yes, I think this is extremely important, 5% advocacy, and another 80% innovation of young entrepreneur coming with solutions. Advocacy is very important, but consumption as a response, selective consumption is a response, but finding the solutions is the key to this, to all of this. And I think our LEEP people have been very much inspired with how Felix finding solutions out of challenges and how you were able to shed light on the great challenges and hot topics Egypt faces. And I think this is a huge opportunity for us to come with solutions. Thank you very much for this insightful panel, and thank you.